Have you ever looked at someone who shares your face, your blood, your very existence, and suddenly realized that they were the one who wanted you gone the most? Because I have. And the most terrifying part, she was my twin sister. My name is Lara, and this is the story of how the person who slept beside me, laughed with me, and shared my childhood memories almost took my life. Not with a knife, not with poison, but with hate, jealousy, and a quiet plan that nearly worked. If you are listening to this right now, don't blink. Because this story, it doesn't start with blood. It starts with love. Lina and I were born on a rainy night in Lagos, inside a small private hospital that overlooked the noisy expressway. The sound of honking cars and shouting street vendors was the first music that ever touched my ears. They said twins were a blessing. My mother said we were her miracle. Lina came out first. I followed minutes later, smaller, weaker, almost silent. The nurses thought I wouldn't survive, but I did. From that day onward, my mother used to say Lara held on to life because she knew she had a sister to protect. Maybe that was true. Or maybe life was just preparing me for the hardest battle of all, the one that would come from inside my own home. We grew up in a pale yellow flat on the 3rd floor of a crowded apartment building. Below us were traders, tailors, phone repairers, and women who sold fried plantain every morning. The air was always filled with smoke, laughter, arguments, and music. My mother was a businesswoman. She dealt in clothes, luxury fabrics, silk, lace, chiffon, the kind rich women wore to weddings and important events. Twice a year, she traveled to Dubai to buy the best materials and ship them back to Nigeria. And every time she left, it was just Lina and I. 2 identical faces, 2 completely different hearts. Growing up, people always said, Lara is the calm one, Lina is the fire. But what they didn't know was that fire can also burn a house down. In school, teachers loved me. I always kept to myself, completed my work early, and never caused trouble. Lina, on the other hand, hated being told what to do. She hated rules, she hated authority. But most of all, she hated that people thought I was better than her. Whenever someone praised me, I saw her jaw tighten. Whenever boys tried to talk to me, her eyes turned dark. Whenever a teacher called my name, her smile disappeared. Still, she was my twin, my other half. So I ignored every warning sign. I defended her. I covered her mistakes. I shared everything with her, my clothes, my secrets, my dreams. I didn't know I was also sharing my enemy with her. The big change started the year our mother prepared for her longest trip yet. 3 whole months in Dubai. Bigger business deal, bigger order, bigger money. That night before she left, she sat Lina and I down in the living room. Her voice was soft, tired. My daughters, this trip is important. I'm doing it for your future, for your education, for the better life you deserve. She held our hands. But promise me something. Promise you will protect each other. In this world, it is your blood that stands for you. I squeezed Lina's hand tighter. I promise, Mama. Lina hesitated, then smiled. I promise too. And in that moment, I believed her. The next morning, my mother left. Just like that, our world shifted. Days turned into quiet nights. Weeks turned into lonely mornings. And slowly, the Lina I thought I knew started to fade away. She stopped talking to me the same way. She would leave the house without telling me where she was going. She started wearing heavier makeup, new perfume, new clothes that I had never seen before. Men began to call her phone at night. When I asked her, she would snap. Mind your business, Lara. Not everything is about you. But everything started feeling wrong. And the worst day of all came the night I heard her talking on the phone, and she said the words that froze the blood in my body. I'm tired of living in her shadow. If Lara wasn't here, everything would be mine. The attention, the love, the future. She's the only problem left. I stood there in the dark hallway, heart pounding, breathing shaking. She didn't know I was listening. And I didn't know that she had already started planning exactly how to erase me from her life forever. The night after I heard my sister say my name with hatred in her voice, I didn't sleep. I lay on my bed, staring at the ceiling, listening to the sounds of the city outside. Distant sirens, a dog barking somewhere in the streets, a generator humming next to door. My mind replayed her words again and again like a broken tape. If Lara wasn't here, everything would be mine. Was she joking? Was she angry? Or was she serious? My chest felt tight. For the first time in my life, I was afraid of the person who shared my face. The next morning, Lina acted like nothing had happened. She moved around the apartment, humming softly, her mood strangely light, as if she had finally made a decision that brought her peace. "Good morning, twin," she said sweetly, handing me a cup of tea. I stared into the cup. Was I being paranoid? I remembered all the times she had protected me as kids, all the nights she had held my hand when I was scared of the dark, all the laughter we shared under our small blanket when rain poured outside. Could that same girl want to destroy me? I forced a smile and took the cup, but I didn't drink it. Throughout that week, strange things began to happen. My clothes went missing. My slippers would be soaked with water in the morning. My books were torn. My phone was moved from where I left it. Whenever I asked Lina, she just laughed. "You are too forgetful, Lara. Maybe your mind is finally catching up with your face." Her words were light, but her eyes, they were cold. 3 days later, she came back home unusually happy. "I made a new friend," she announced, throwing her bag onto the couch. "His name is Ryan. He's wealthy." I forced interest. "How did you meet him?" "At a fashion launch on the island." "He likes me. A lot." Something inside me twisted. She had never been to the island before. She hated long drives and traffic. Now, suddenly, she was mixing with rich men in expensive places. "Be careful," I said gently. "You don't really know him." Her smile dropped instantly. "That's your problem, Lara. You think you're better. You think I'm foolish. But soon, I'll be the one living a life you can only dream about." That was the moment I realized this wasn't jealousy anymore. This was competition. And to Lina, competition only had one winner. The night everything collapsed was a Thursday. There was a huge downpour, rain beating hard against the window, thunder growling in the sky. Lina walked into my room, her expression calm, too calm. "Let's take a walk," she said. "In this rain?" I asked. "There's a power outage. The air is hot. We need fresh air." Something told me to say no. But this was my twin sister, my blood. I followed her. We walked down the worn stairs out of the building into the rainy streets, our clothes clinging to our bodies, water splashed beneath our feet. She led me towards the back of the compound, where construction workers had dug a deep pit weeks earlier. It was dark, too quiet. "Lina, why are we here?" I asked, my voice shaky. She slowly turned to me, rain falling over her face, mixing with something that looked like tears. "Because tonight, Lara, you stop existing in my world." Before I could scream, Before I could run, before I could even understand what was happening, she pushed me hard. My body hit the edge of the pit and tumbled inside. My head struck something sharp. Pain exploded in my skull. Warm blood trickled down my forehead. I tried to call her name. Lina. But my voice was weak. Above me, I saw her silhouette standing over the pit, staring down at me. "Say goodbye, twin," she whispered. Then she walked away. I don't know how long I lay there in the cold rain, half conscious, shaking, bleeding. I only remember thinking, so this is how my story ends, at the hands of my own sister. But fate had another plan.
A security guard from the nearby building heard a faint sound. He shone his flashlight into the pit and saw me. I was rushed to the hospital. Stitches, bandages, pain, tears. And just like that, Lina's plan failed. When questioned by the police, she cried. "She slept. I tried to save her," she lied. But the night guard told the truth. And when evidence came out, my twin sister was arrested. As they took her away, she locked eyes with me, and for the first time in a long while, she looked scared. 2 weeks later, my mother returned from Dubai. When she walked into the hospital room and saw my bandaged head, her knees gave way. "My daughters," she wept. "What have you allowed the world to turn you into?" I held her hand with what strength I had left. "Mama, I tried to protect her. I really did." My mother stroked my hair. "Some people don't need protection, Lara. They need to face the consequences of their own darkness."
Lina was sent to a rehabilitation center as part of her sentence because she was still young and the court claimed she could be reformed. I visited her only once. She sat across from me in the cold visiting room. "You won," she said quietly. I sighed. "No one won, Lina. We both lost." Tears finally fell from her eyes. "I thought destroying you would give me peace, but removing you only showed me how empty I was," she said. For the first time, she seemed like the sister I once had. And for the first time since our birth, we hugged as two separate souls. Years have passed. The scar on my head healed. The pain in my heart slowly softened. My mother's business flourished. I finished school. I found my own path in life. And Lina, she's still learning to forgive herself. But if there is one thing I have learned, it is this.
Sometimes your greatest enemy is not a stranger in the street. Sometimes they sleep in the same room as you. And sometimes the deepest lesson life will ever teach you is how to survive what was meant to destroy.
Thank you for staying with me until the very end of this story. Now, I'd really love to hear from you. What part of this story touched you the most? And what lesson did you learn from it? Please share your thoughts in the comments below. I truly enjoy reading them. If this story moved you in any way, don't forget to give it a thumbs up to support the channel and share it with your loved ones. Someone out there might need this message today. And if you haven't subscribed yet, now is the perfect time. Turn on the notification bell so you never miss another powerful story from us. So tell me, if you were in my position, what would you have done differently? Stay blessed and bye for now.